Source, an eclectic arrangement of diverse, powerful voices tackling the issues that affect us all. So let's get started with The Source.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. Good afternoon, Rita.
Good afternoon, Joanne. How are you?
Well, getting ready for the weekend, aren't we? We're going to be grazing in the grass. You know, I think we're halfway there. Do you think? You know, in terms of people being able to get back out, meet with people, see family and friends.
Yes,
and enjoy, get outdoors. Yes.
Yep.
And for those of you who are not vaccinated, do us a favor. Don't be selfish. If you want to get back to your normal life, see friends and family, and respect those who are vulnerable, you'll go get yourself vaccinated. And just about everywhere you can do it. I think at the local pharmacies now, the pharmacy chains, you know, just look it up and go take yourself. I've gotten vaccinated. Rita got vaccinated.
Yeah.
Listen, I think everybody got vaccinated, including my grand dog. Everybody getting vaccinated. Okay?
That's right.
You know,
it's the right thing to do.
It's the right thing to do. And if we want to get closest to getting back to normal, we're going to have to do that. We're going to have an exciting show today. You know, we had the mayor's press conference. We want to talk a little bit about that. And join us around the 2:05 hour today is Melissa Robbins. And you know that she always comes ready and chock full of information. And you know, and bring some, you know, we'll bring it to you, you know.
She's fiery. She's definitely fiery.
As they say, spicy.
She's spicy.
Yeah.
We like spicy.
It's spicy. So I listened to the press conference, and particularly when they were reading the crime stats.
Yes.
And what really struck out to me is that these murders, shootings, however we want to characterize it, primarily seems to be late teens, early 20s.
Yeah.
And while we have, you know, while they seem in some ways to be drug related, and while it also seems the inability to handle beefs that they have with one another and they're resolving them with guns.
Yes.
Two things strike me. In the old days when you didn't get along with somebody and, you know, your emotions was flaring, you threw up your fists and you fought. And today you do it with a gun.
Right.
But more importantly, we've got too many young black men with no place to go. Who's already at a very young age signed off to a life of the streets. And while they are individually responsible for the behavior, as society, we have to be responsible for creating the environment that put them there. We put them there by undereducating them and putting them in poor schools. And so they have no place to go. The drug part of it is largely because that's the industry that opens the door that employs them.
Yeah.
And the risks that's involved, they've already calculated the risk. Many will tell you that they don't expect to live beyond X age. And we sit here and we know that we have this problem, but we refuse to connect the dots.
Yeah.
We refuse to connect the dots with it. So we're going to go to a quick break, and we're going to come back on the opposite side of that break and have a discussion, Rita, about connecting the dots before we have Melissa Robbins. So you're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. We'll be right back.
Buying something from a dealer just sounds a bit, well, put it like this. My cousin Ray Ray got arrested for buying something from a dealer. So why would you want to buy your car from a dealer? Hi, everybody. This is Nick inviting you to buy your next car from Jerry over at Cardex. See, they're not dealers. They're like a car concierge service. They design a car around you. Almost any make. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and get it for you. So use my car concierge, where I've already bought 4 cars. Cardex at 116 East Glenside Avenue in Glenside, Pennsylvania. Check them out online at cardexinc.com. Or call Cardex at 215-886-3230.
Hi, this is Samantha from Leo's Apparel on Germantown and Lehigh Ave. Open from 9:30 to 5:30 Monday through Saturday. We have the hottest selection of boys' dress suits and casual sportswear for boys sizes 2T to 20. Men, let me tell you, we got in a large shipment of straws from Stetson. We have new linen and dress suits. Biggest selection of Stacy Adams shoes. Get an extra WURD 10% discount.
You're listening to The Source with Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
The simple things you do, the simple things I love about you. Your voice is sweet to hear. The simple things, knowing your name. You could give me all the diamonds and pearls. You could take me around the world. Darling, darling, you could give me all that love can bring. But most of all, I love those simple things.
You can give a girl a diamond ring. You can give her all the world can bring. Don't you know it just don't mean a thing? If you don't have a heart, then you don't have nothing. You can give a girl a diamond.
Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and arts organizations. If you go to the portal right now, you will see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, WURD Radio, and more. Apply for a job today. Go to our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs. Are you looking to hire diverse talent? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal to help connect you with diverse talent in Philadelphia and beyond. If you would like to have your jobs featured on our job portal, give us a call at 215-425-7875 or send us an email at sales@wordradio.com. Check out the job portal today on our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
Well, you know, Rita, before we went to commercial, we talk about connecting the dots. And we have this high crime rate because we also have that high poverty rate. We're also in a city where where these young men, in particular the young men, but it's young women too, we're not offering them any alternatives. We don't have good recreational programs, even though we have a recreational system
Hmm.
when they're young. We don't have good schools. The schools are old, dilapidated, and dangerous, physically dangerous. We don't invest in the things that they need. We don't hire them.
Exactly.
Don't hire them. We don't create the jobs that they need. They don't work, they don't come from families that have a long history of being in the building and trades. They stand on corners watching their counterparts, their white counterparts, come into their neighborhoods and build the local church, build the local housing, and they don't get the jobs because they don't get the training. They are
We
not.
don't.
Okay.
We don't prepare them. So we don't prepare them because the school system is failing them academically. The schools themselves are broken and battered. The schools are dangerous. So if a young man makes it to 12th grade graduation before dropping out, he graduates with nowhere to go. There are no training programs after high school. He's not ready or prepared to go to college. So he's out there in the neighborhood, in the universe, doing God knows what. He's been traumatized throughout his short life by the trauma of poverty all around him and violence that he lives through in his neighborhoods all around him. So he comes out of school ill prepared to deal with his life. He has no resources and no choices. And he is grappling with PTSD. We don't connect any of our children to any resources that can help them with PTSD. We don't even recognize that the young people living in this city live with PTSD every single day. So we don't prepare them. They're ill, they're not educated, they're not ready. There are no job programs or training programs that we can refer these young people into. They're not ready to go to college. There's no economy. And if they are ready to go into a job, no one will hire them. The larger corporations are not hiring young black men into those corporations, training them and then working them up through the ranks. That doesn't happen for our young black men and brown men and young black women and brown women. That doesn't happen. So they're not prepared. They have no choice but to participate in the criminal activity and criminal economy that's out on the streets for them today.
I guess the point that I was driving at is the point that a lot of times in a similar situated family that happens to be of the same social economic background, the choices are that they can, without a high school diploma in many instances, find work because white companies will hire them and give them the training
Right.
at the entry level. We have had a long history in this city about building and trades, locking out young black men. And we live in a union town, and we have all of these project labor agreements with business and with government. And then when we raise these issues, we're constantly told, well, we're working on these training programs for minorities. But what happens is that they get in, they come in the entry level, but they never get enough work to end up through journeymen so that they can
Right.
fall back. They're at the bottom of the list. They never seem to make it to the top. And so again, what I say is that in these kinds of jobs that are available, they're not in that. And every time an interested group or party says, I want to see what the membership is in not laborers, because the laborers union, laborers council, and a local 332, they do a yeoman's job at pulling minority men in and putting and training them for the work that the laborers do.
Yes.
And for the more skilled workers, we've yet like the electricians and the carpenters and all, where they can make, look, you know, call a plumber today and you might have to sell your firstborn. You know, it costs, okay?
That's right.
And so what happens is that these jobs pay great, but we do not have people in that pipeline. And we're now at 2021. And this is an argument that has been going on in this city for the past 50 years. Most of the building and trades do not live in the city of Philadelphia. They can afford to live in the suburbs and in Jersey. They have a second home down at the shore, and they come in and they get all of the work. And then what we sit around and we say is that these kids are out here killing themselves. We offer them nothing. We have a call reader from Tyrone from North Philly.
My queen, how's everybody?
How are you?
I am
You're fine.
Wonderful. I'm in recovery, but I'm doing well.
And what are you recovering from, might we ask?
Yes.
Well, I don't know if it was something I did or something happened, but all I know is that my arms just stopped working. When I mean stopped working, I mean it just fell, and I could not use it at all. So
you have gone. You saw a doctor, correct?
Well, I spoke with my primary, and I do have an appointment today, which I will be going to this afternoon.
Okay, so we think perhaps make sure that those aren't signs of heart trouble or heart disease or something that may make you have to go there sooner.
Well, no, it's swollen around the elbow, and I just need to get there to see.
Well, Tyrone, it may be.
I didn't hit it. I didn't fall out. So
yeah, it might have been one of them wild nights you had.
I could have slept on it the wrong way. I don't know.
No way. Tyrone, did you hear me? I said it could have been one of them wild nights. Yeah. You know, you might have had a you might have had a wild night last night or the night before last, Tyrone.
And you didn't remember. Or it could be gout.
All I'm saying, I hope those days ain't over with. But first of all, let me say peace and blessing and much love to my WURD family. And you know, my queen, this week has been a powerhouse.
Could you hold Tyrone? Do us a favor. We want to hear what the powerhouse is, but we got to go to that top of the hour break. Stay on. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. We'll be right back.
The Pennsylvania Horticultural Society supports WURD and presents the 2021 Philadelphia Flower Show, Habitat Nature's Masterpiece, June 5th to 13th. Now blooming outdoors for the first time ever at FDR Park in South Philadelphia. Tickets and details available at phsonline.org.
This WURD Wellness Vignette is brought to you by Penn Medicine. WURD Radio presents the following wellness tip to support our listeners with mindfulness and motivation.
This is Halana, your resident expert health and wellness coach, with tips to help you stay well. When you go grocery shopping, keep choosing a healthy diet in mind. What you choose to eat is a big part of your overall health, and wellness. Heart disease, diabetes, and even cancer can be linked to what you eat. We have all been to the store and let snacks and sweets steer us in the wrong direction with our health and our budget. Choosing a healthy diet when we shop simply means 3 things. Replace coffee or soda with a glass of water. Substitute fish, chicken, or red meat for a meatless Monday meal at least once a week. Choose healthy snacks like fresh fruits and vegetables during the day. If you want to eat more, gain less, and feel full longer, include lots of high-fiber fresh foods in your diet every single day. Choosing a healthy diet is something we can all do. Go ahead and try it for your next trip to the grocery store. And stay well with WURD. Happy, healthy living.
Stay well with WURD. Connect with us at wordradio.com. This WURD Wellness vignette was brought to you by Penn Medicine.
I would like to play a little tune I just composed not so long ago.
Hey family, do you like hearing the best jazz selections aired by 3 of the best jazz announcers in Philadelphia? Well, tune in to 96.1 FM,
96.1 FM,
and 900 AM, WURD Radio, independent black media, for Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Freedom Sounds of Jazz.
Hear Freedom Sounds of Jazz 10 p.m. Fridays with your hosts in rotation, Aquila, Jonathan Bay, and David Fritz. That's 10 p.m. Friday nights on WURD 96.1 FM and 900 AM, independent black media.
This is WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia. Independent black media.
You're listening to The Source with Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDRadio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Each day through my window, I watch him as he passes by. I say to myself, you're such a lucky girl to have a boy like him. It's truly a dream come true. Out of all the girls in the world, he belongs to me. But it was just my imagination running away with me. Ooh, it was just my imagination.
You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. And we're back in Tyrone. Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, so
you starting off with Sister Sonia Sent and the 2 young lady and young man. I do apologize. I don't have their name. Oh man, they was exceptional. And just again,
where was this? Where was this?
This was yesterday on one of y'all special programs.
Okay.
Which moderated by Miss Reese. I think it was called the Literary Workshop or something.
Yeah, I was working, so I missed that.
Yeah, it was on yesterday at 1 o'clock. And Sister Sonia Sanchez, and they had these 2 wonderful young artists who, again, wanted to, I guess, dovetailing on, the coat of Sister Sanchez. And that's where you get that intergenerational, spirit where our young and our elders, can come together and just make magic. And that's what they did yesterday. And then,
well, I'm gonna. I think we can still pull it up, so I'm gonna pull it up and look at it.
Okay. And on Saturday, Ace Veteran Museum, they did their 20th anniversary of honoring, the vets across the city. And a good buddy of mine, and I'm pretty sure you know too, Lorenzo Huff, who's the chair of Global Academy. His father-in-law will be 100 on June 3rd, and he was one of the honorees yesterday. On Saturday. And then they had the Stylistics, the Blue Notes, the Legends of Soul. It was just a phenomenal day, and it was free in Vernon Park. Vernon Park is Germantown and Shelton. So that was a beautiful event. And last but not least, talking about a 100-year-old, we had a 19-year-old North Philadelphian won The Voice last night. So
wow,
here we go.
Wow.
North Philly in the house.
So North Philly was represented nationally and internationally.
There we go. So
and this was at Vernon Park?
No, on The Voice last night. On The Voice, on the show The Voice.
Yes.
And so
Vernon. Well, that's Vernon Park. But I'm telling you, Nick, show was great. My girl, Sarita. All the programs that Charles today. I'm just telling you, folks got to understand the significance in terms of not only being well educated, but the knowledge, the folks that come through WURD, the information that we get, the messaging that we get, the music. My God, that song there, the music. Even though I might be in pain, I'm still floating on cloud nine. So my queens, I thank y'all.
Thank you. We always enjoy talking to you.
And
yes, Tyrone.
My queen, you played the record that y'all had dedicated to
Elmer Chappelle.
Miss Elmer.
But
we'll do it again for you.
Yes,
we'll do it
and
again.
I need the name of that record because
I'll send it to you, Tyrone.
I love you.
Love you back.
We love you too, Tyrone. Thank you.
So we have Melissa Robbins on with us. Melissa?
Hey, good afternoon, ladies.
How are you doing? How are you doing?
Good afternoon, Melissa.
Listen, it is a beautiful day. I am in good health. My family is well. You all sound great. I'm very, very thankful. So no complaints here.
I love that.
Yes.
It's a day of no complaints.
No complaints.
No,
and it's been such a long
no,
time.
As my mother used to tell us when we were kids, somewhere in the world somebody is suffering, doesn't have a meal, a roof over their head, or good health. So just when I think I want to fix my mouth to complain, I reconsider it.
That's a good way to be.
I think about that all the time because when we constantly complain and not look at the suffering that's going on around the world and the plight, we have to see ourselves as being more than fortunate. It's more than fortunate.
Yes, ma'am. You know what I tell my kids? Anytime they complain to me, I tell my children, listen, I'm not trying to invalidate what you're saying to me, but these are also considered first world problems. I remind them constantly. And then, trust me, my kids are at the stage where, you know, I think it's an age where your kids kind of like don't like you. They're like,
so they must be in that alien stage. They must be, if they're in those teenage years, then they're aliens.
Well, they're like adults. They're like kid adults. It's like they're 19, 21, like early 20s, and some kids mature quicker. And, you know, I'm not saying that they're just immature, but they want to be adults when they want to be adults, and they want to be kids and benefit from being your kids when they want to. And my thing of it is that I'm doing you and the world a disservice by continuing to baby you. You tell me you're an adult, that is how we're going to interact amongst each other, smothered with love.
Well, what we need to do, what we're going to need to do, Melissa, is to have a parenting hour on this show and invite you back for that. So I want you to stay on because you're our co-host for the next hour. And we have a call that's in. We have Sutan.
Hey, my sisters.
How are you doing, Sutan? First of all, before you say anything, I want to give you my condolences.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yeah, we lost one early, and we lost one lately. So, but God knows best. God knows best. I didn't have a chance to talk to y'all. Can you hear me?
Last week. Yes, we can hear you.
Me? Oh,
yes,
okay.
John.
I hadn't had a chance to speak to y'all during the period of Miss Emma Chappelle passing, which was a dear, dear friend, a dear, dear person to my heart, a lady who done so much for me individually and business-wise, and then after we started our foundation, helped us to guide us financially in the right direction and do things to open up bank accounts for children at United Bank. And in fact, if I recall, my first business loan, I think Ms. Chappelle was at Continental Bank, and she got me the first loan through PCCD to no cash, but to get goods in stock on my store in North Philly. And then we and her served together on Universal Charter School Board. So she's just a wonderful, wonderful person, and truly miss, and I think about it all the time. And just before I resigned from the board of Universal in January, and at the board meeting, she gave me one of the best compliments I could ever believe. She said, I've been on a bunch of boards and bodies throughout my life, but you are the best chairman who runs the best meetings of any board I've ever been on. That almost brought me to tears. I'm serious. It almost brought me to tears. So she will truly be missed, but we got to say her name and we keep her alive.
Well, there's not a day for me, not an hour that goes by that I don't think about her.
Absolutely. I miss her dearly.
It's very difficult, but we're guided by her. I hear her guidance. I hear her voice. I even know what she would say when someone says something silly, and I think I know exactly what she would say. She's a person that left a big footprint, just a big footprint. And we're going to try, because of the time and the place, Sutan, and what we were in when she passed, we didn't get a chance to bring all of the people together in a way who love her and who were affected by her. And we want to do that, and we're going to plan something, and we certainly want to include you.
Well, count me in to do anything you need done. I'm down 1,000%, and I'm just proud of how you and Rita handled it, how y'all brought the information to the airwave and just really shared the moments, the joy, the action, the hardship, the fun times, the food, everything.
Yeah, now wait a minute. You knew, let me just ask you, Sutan. Now, if she told you that you ran the best board meeting, you must have had food there.
Oh, every board meeting we had food, and she would.
Yes, that's Emma's kind of meeting.
Both me and right. Chappelle made sure we ate. Dr. Chappelle, we made sure we ate. We had good food. Sister Pat with her catering service used to do our dinner.
Pat's good. Pat's got some good food.
Oh, yeah. Yes. And me and her would sit there and we would chat before the meeting and, just great memories. Just great memories. So may God be pleased with her and long live the spirit of Emma Chappelle, Cody Anderson, Joey T, and on and on and on. All those, even my daughter, Kimma Safia Ahmed. May God be pleased with all of them.
Yes, please.
So I'm going to be checking in now. Me and my wife are slowly crawling back into the arena. We had to step out the arena for a minute. It's been 1 month since her death, and but we're slowly crawling out the arena. We put our faith in our Lord, so we have no doubts and no questions, so we're moving with that, but we just had to wrap our arms around what we got to do and the journey that's before us now. So I remember when I first lost my son, my father told me, he said, well, son, one God took home. Well, it's time to go back to the berry patch. He said, you might have to go back to the berry patch. Now, I don't know if I can go back to the berry patch at this point.
I was thinking that, Sultan, I wasn't going to give you away, okay?
Right.
Wasn't going to give you away.
Thank God. We didn't hit 73. We've been married 45 years, so it's been a blessing and a joy.
God bless you.
Yes. But all is well. Y'all keep a good program. Hopefully, as things go on in the future, I still want to get with y'all and talk about what I still think is an idea that could still be part of the growth and development of the city and change the look of poverty and fight the war on poverty. But before I go, there's one thing I heard you speaking the other week about an event with Nelson Mandela. There was a couple of events, Joanne. We took a picture with Nelson Mandela at the convention center, the Black Public Administrators.
Yeah, I kind of remember that. I think that's the one that I was talking about. Was that the one that Betty?
Yeah, it was.
Was that the one that was Betty there? Betty Shabazz?
Yes, the whole.
Okay,
group of us.
that's the one I was talking about.
The public administrators, we did a lot of traveling. We had our conferences everywhere, and we went to all those conferences representing Philly big time.
I remember being down in New Orleans.
And we was in Texas one year. We went to Texas. We went to New Orleans. There was a conference in Florida. So I remember those days. And Sister Barbara Cox, who was always ahead of the curve and then always organizing everything, would have everything laid out. All we had to do was dig in, So we've seen some great people who've been a part of our lives, and we've seen some great people who've added joy and growth to our life. And that's the blessing. It says you'll be tested with your health, your wealth, and your family. The greatest test is the one of family. But there's only one question on the test: do you believe? So I'm going with faith now, and we're going to keep it moving.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sultan.
We'll talk to you very soon, Sultan. So, Melissa?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So you're going to talk a little bit about a hearing that's going to happen today.
Yes. I'm so glad that you brought that up. Thanks for reminding me. So there's a hearing that's going to take place between 3 and 5 today, and it's very important that people know. It's upsetting to me because our city leaders assume that people aren't interested, and we vote for them to be our eyes and our ears, but yet for some strange reason they continuously keep their mouths closed and don't tell the general public what they're doing and how we can advocate for ourselves. So I'll get on here and do it for them. So there's a hearing today being held about public safety, and it's actually, there's a lot of bills, of course, that will be discussed, but the one in particular that I'm paying close attention to is it's regarding off-street vehicles, all-terrain vehicles, specifically ATVs, dirt bikes, dune buggies, anything that's considered or classified or categorized as off-road vehicles. And it's no secret, all around the city, Philadelphia, Baltimore, Atlanta, whatever city you see our young black males riding their dirt bikes and banshees and having a good time. Do they always follow the rules? No. Do they ride on sidewalks periodically? Yes. Do they run red lights? Yes. Do they stop up traffic? Yes. I'm not condoning any of those things. But guess what? If they had an ATV park where they could ride freely and exert themselves and be able to exert their testosterone like their white male counterparts do, then we wouldn't see them in traffic. But it seems to me that this country will demonize and criminalize anything that our black people do. So this hearing today, what they're doing is this. They're trying to get they're voting to get the Philadelphia Code to match the state code, which categorizes any off-road vehicle and puts them in the same category of being illegal. And the next thing is, confiscate them, give them a ticket, 10 days to retrieve it. I think it's 30 or 90 days before the city just takes it and it's destroyed, or whatever manner they choose to get rid of it or sell it. Who knows what the city's doing with it? But my issue is this. Instead of Councilman Dom and Councilmember Squilla and Councilmember Green sponsoring legislation that will just continuously criminalize and demonize our black young men, why don't they take the same time, effort, and energy and put it into, well, you know what? We see it's a culture. It's something that they like to do. Let's secure some funding to make sure that they're safe, they can ride and have fun and do what they love to do. We know that it will decrease the gun violence. It can be regulated. It can generate funds that can be invested back into the community. Ms. Joanne, our electeds are supposed to be visionaries, right? Instead, wealthy white people are complaining in Center City, so Alan Dom has to satisfy his base. Mark Squilla has to satisfy his base, and I don't know what's up with the other council person, but that's what's happening. And how do you respond to black men? Jail, tickets, criminalize them, demonize them, destroy what they have. When white boys were riding skateboards all through Center City, they ended up getting
So, Melissa, I want you to hold that. We're going to go to break, and I want to talk about what they did with that skate park and how they created that. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. We'll be right back.
WURD Radio Digital Tip of the Month with Stephanie Humphrey. Brought to you by Comcast.
I'm your Tech Life expert, Stephanie Humphrey, and this is your WURD Digital Tip. If you're a small business owner or entrepreneur, an important part of your business may be sending emails to potential prospects, but it can feel almost impossible to find anyone's email address just by searching through the company website. When you need an email address at another company, try using hunter.io. Find email addresses from any company name or website, get the email address of an individual, or verify an email address to make sure your message doesn't get bounced back. There is a free version of the software, and plans start as low as $49 per month. So now you can make sure all those cold emails and all your hard work pay off for your business. Stay tuned to WURD for more tips and stay connected with us at WURDradio.com.
The WURD Digital Tip of the Month was brought to you by Comcast.
In Philadelphia, everyone is reading this year's free library, One Book, One Philadelphia featured selection, The Tradition. Jericho Brown's 2020 Pulitzer Prize-winning poetry collection weaves national history with the deeply personal. Youth companion selections include The Poet X by Elizabeth Acevedo and Hey Black Child by Useni Eugene Perkins and Brian Collier. One Book, One Philadelphia features 8 weeks of programming through June 9th. Visit freelibrary.org/onebook for the full calendar of online events.
This is not a fad for us. We will not resume our regular programming when things die down. We're not black to help our bottom line or because it's politically correct. We're not joining a fight. This has been our fight, our message, our people. Black lives have always mattered here. We are undeniably, indefatigably, unapologetically, permanently Black Talk Media. WURD.
You're listening to The Source with Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
You know,
you do. Have the faith I have in you. Love will see us through if only you trust in me. Why don't you trust me? Come to me when things go wrong. Cling to me, Daddy. Oh yeah, and I'll be strong. We can get along.
You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. Melissa, so we remember that they basically took over Center City with those skateboards. And they were on sidewalks. They took over the park there across from City Hall. And they made a real nuisance of themselves. And so the way that the city decided to handle it was to create a skate park. And I'm going to let you take over from there.
And you are absolutely correct, Miss Joanne. But this is what your listeners need to know about the city of Philadelphia and, of course, the nation, how they view an activity dominated by white males versus an activity dominated by black males. So, skating, right? It's been talked about since, I mean, we knew in the 90s we saw it, but in 2002, you know, all of a sudden this idea, this project came to mind. And it came to fruition in 2013. It is called Paynes Park, right? Before I tell you about Paynes Park, I'm going to tell you all of the organizations and elected officials that saw this as a priority, okay, that they found and secured millions of dollars to assure that this white male-dominated sport could be. All right, here are all the partners. So Alan Dom, Mark Squilla, and Derek Green, before you criminalize and demonize black males, somehow or another, the city of Philadelphia, the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania, Philadelphia Parks and Rec Center, Philadelphia Planning Commission, Philadelphia Commerce Department, a private lender, Anthony Bracali, Bitten Bender Construction, the Tony Hawk Foundation, the Olitsky Family Foundation, Visit Philly. At the time, it was State Rep Babette Joseph. Right now, Brian Sims occupies that seat. At the time, it was State Senator Larry Farnese. Right now, that seat is occupied by Nikhil Saval. At the time, it was State Rep Michelle Brownlee. Now it is occupied by State Rep Donna Bullock, Councilman Darrell Clark, Philadelphia Sports Congress, Friday Architect Planners, Grindline Skate Park, Skate Nerds, Schuylkill River Development Corporation, the Next American City, and another private lender, Red Tetmer. So, the city of Philadelphia partnered with all of these entities to develop what we know now as Payne Park. And let me tell you what they talk about it. After many years of advocacy and funding and project development, Payne Park officially opened. When they talk about it as a mixed-use public space designed with skateboarding in mind. So let's change the word skateboarding to design with ATV riding in mind, right? It could be the same thing, right? Set along the banks of the Schuylkill River, adjacent to the Philadelphia Museum of Art, is the biggest skate park in the city and is a favorite stop for touring pros, frequently hosted contests, demos, and other events. So, you tell me, Miss Joanne and Rita, you tell me. You tell me. And then Alan Dom got on the phone and got upset and apologized. It was a town hall held. He was like, forgive me for being angry. Well, guess what? Forgive me for being angry when you try to criminalize and demonize black males instead of giving them the same kindness, courtesy, consideration, and passion for their love and culture of ATV riding. Because I'll tell you something, ladies, I'm very pissed off about it. That is why I'm going to testify today, and I've organized some of our riders to get on the call and testify as well, because I am not going to stand by and let these people do what they do, because it's easy to throw stones and hate on black people. It's the easiest thing to do, but not on my watch. So that's where I'm at with it.
Melissa, we are happy to have you, and I think that Philadelphia ought to be too. You pointed this out, and I was unaware of the legislation until we talked, and I agree with you. I think that in the same way that they dealt with the skateboarders, they should deal with the ATV riders and give them. We started the show right after the press conference that they had on gun violence, and Rita and I spent at least 10 minutes talking about that. We do not have things for young black males. We don't have the kind of recreational activities that they should have at a very young age in the city. And then everything that they do becomes a source for criminalization. Rita? Rita can...
Absolutely. That's what we see. Excuse me. And thank you, Melissa, for even bringing this issue to the forefront. Because whether it's recreational, whether it's business-wise, whether it has anything to, once it has something to do with black males, it will be turned into an issue, a problem for society, rather than having some kind of inclusion in ways that are cultural issues for our community, members of our community. It becomes demonized, just like you said, Melissa. And we see it over and over again.
This is the thing about what you just said. Rita, you said inclusion, right? So
yes.
Inclusion into what? Because to imply an inclusion means that there is a default. So as we are being included into something, what is the default?
Well, what I'm saying is not a default. What I'm saying is they need to include our culture in the larger majority culture, that there are things that we do culturally that maybe the majority, they don't have any idea about. And ATV riding is one of them. Okay? They look at ATV riding as dangerous, infringing on pedestrians. They're riding in the street where cars are. So how are they any more dangerous than a car? Cars ride in the street. They're saying that some of them ride on sidewalks. Mostly they ride in the street. Just like a car.
The issue is they need the freedom to ride as wild and out of control as they desire because they are males. White men have the luxury of jumping out of planes, climbing mountains, killing animals, dune buggies in the hills, golfing, skating, whatever it is that white men create to entertain themselves, no one stops them from doing it. Why? Because they give themselves upward, salaries. They make sure that their schools are well funded so that white males can go on to afford nice homes, nice vacations. They make sure they take care of each other because they grant themselves, they create this thing called privilege. Well, it's a man-made white privilege that they create and give to themselves at whose expense, right? And then they turn black people and Asian people and Latinos against each other. And everybody who comes to this country from another country is told, as long as you're not black. We have people that come from Europe who come from oppression. Like for example, people coming from Russia and the Ukraine in the Northeast. They come from communism, right? And they come here in the United States and they recognize, wait a minute, all that we have to do is step into our whiteness and follow them as long as we're not black. Well, guess what? It is long overdue for black people to stop accepting these crumbs that are being given to us. And to all of those elected officials who are black or brown, if you are accepting payoffs, then you deserve whatever life gives you, because there's no amount of money, and I repeat, there's no amount of money that's going to make me sell my soul or sell my people. In the words of the late, great Shirley Chisholm, unbought and unbossed. Stand up for your babies. Stand up for your nephews and your sons and your uncles and your cousins. They deserve the life of freedom and just being able to ride without fearing that a police officer is going going to come barreling behind them in a dirt bike and hit them or chase them until they crash and really, really severely injure themselves, which is what police have been doing. Why? Because they don't value us. They don't even look at us as humans. Teach each other that we're inhuman. They really, 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 really do hate us. And that's just the truth. And even white people who are quote-unquote woke, they still have to, you know, maintain each and every day to watch out for their innate racism. A lot of white people will tell you that. They still have to monitor their behavior each day. If we don't talk about white supremacy and racism and get to the bottom of this hate, nothing's going to change, because everything that you see is rooted in white supremacy. Case in point, yesterday was the anniversary of our dear beloved, you know, brother, George Floyd. The George Floyd Justice and Policing Act has not been passed. However, you've seen quite a few other pieces of legislation sail through the Senate. Why? Why? What has black people ever done to this country except for suffered? Please tell me why.
Well, you know by listening to us that you are echoing exactly what Rita and I say here every week. I want to go. The calls are building up, and I know they want to talk to you. So we're going to go to Elias from North Philly. Hello. Hello. You have to turn down your radio. Hello, Elias. Okay. We're going to come back to him. Friendly Fred from Northern Liberties.
Yes, how y'all doing? I just want to say...
Hey, Fred, how are you?
I'm doing fine. Good afternoon to the WURD family, mothers, fathers, sisters, brothers, aunts, uncles, nephews, nieces and cousins, and great-great-grandchildren, siblings, mothers to love, fathers to love, sisters to love, brothers to love, children to love, and everything else I didn't mention of love. Hello?
We're here. We're listening.
Oh, well, I was just saying under one divine Father.
Fred.
Yes.
Are you still there?
Yes, I am.
Have you been following the conversation with Melissa? Because I was hoping that you had a response too.
Oh, I had just
or
tuned
to
in.
add to it.
I was outside. I had just tuned in.
Okay. Well, we thank you for calling in, Fred. Listen, so that you might want to let us know what you think. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred.
So I think we have Woody from Winfield. Woody.
Hey, ladies, how are you?
We're doing good. And Woody, I know I still owe you a call.
Well, let me tell you something, Mother. I know you're a busy lady. I never, when Mother doesn't do something and she mentions it, that means it's on her mind. So I'm thankful that it's on your mind.
Yes,
Thank
it
you
is.
very much, and I'll be looking forward to hearing from you. I just wanted to say, does Miss Robinson, that's her name?
Yes.
Yes, Miss Robinson. I just wanted to ask you a question. You see what's going on with this issue of males. I believe it's the news reports that fuel fear of black males all over this country. And because the news continues to do that, you know, at one time, I'm a little older probably than you, but they didn't even report information in the black community on the news. Were you aware of that? Anything that happened in the black community wasn't even reported on the regular news. We just started getting on the regular news here with information because of the prejudice mindset of how they view us is how they report to us. So anybody in the society of a white male supremacist atmosphere is going to look down at you. When you look at George Floyd, you see the size of his nose, you see his darkness of his skin, and it creates a fear for black males. Even the word black male, you know, that's something bad. You see what I'm saying? How they frame it and everything that you're saying, I think is right on point, because black males need to be free. And the 400 years of chattel slavery, when that freedom comes your way, you see they need to let it out. They need to express it. Look at the basketball players. Look at the baseball players, the football players. they're expressing themselves. And I think you're right on point with an area where these guys would be able to go, because they just want to be seen. They just want people to know that I am somebody. You see what I'm saying? Look at what I can do. The tricks that they do on those bikes, now they're dangerous, but I think that could be an event that you could make some money on if you get this thing going. What do you think?
That's just the thing, and thank you so much for calling into the Black Women's Leadership Council. That's just the thing. Of course you can make money off of it, but who wants the money? It's all about how they can make money. You think they want?
No, I'm saying you make the money.
People come from all over the world
the black
to see
community.
black males perform on these bikes, but white men want to control the bag. Instead of taking the money, investing it back into communities to keep our kids off the streets, to keep, guns out of our kids' hands, to invest into extracurricular activities and sports programs citywide. Let me tell you something right now. If you have the right people running the city of Philadelphia, gun violence will go down. You will see our kids turn into scholars. But unfortunately, yes, some of the people who've been in office for far too long, they're not visionaries, and they got paid off, and they forgot about the whole city, and they only thought about themselves and what they see in the mirror and the nearest and dearest and nepotism and corruption and cronyism. Well, guess what? Our black men deserve absolute freedom. And the reason that you see nothing but negative stereotypes on the news is, remember this, Woody, he who controls the content controls the mind.
You're exactly
Why do you
right.
think
You're
these
exactly
huge media conglomerates buy out multiple television stations, multiple radio stations? Because you can stay on the narrative before you and I were even thought about, before Miss Emma was thought about. There was a negative, monstrous, barbaric, animalistic, savage of black males, and that is perpetuated and reiterated over and over and over and over and over again. This is the thing. We've got to take back the narrative.
Yes,
We've
ma'am.
got to
Yes,
control the narrative. As black reporters and writers, have some pride. Stand up for your community. You know we are amazing, gifted, talented people, and in anything you put us in, we rise to the top. It's easy to look in the face of beautiful, dark, black male and say he's an animal, because that is the picture that white America sold to keep our ancestors enslaved so that they could continue to monetize off of us. They've only looked at us to serve at one purpose, and that is in the form of either a commodity to generate revenue or to entertain them. Take back your narrative, black people. Love yourself. Love your family. See the pride in each other's eyes and the value in each other. And let's stand up and demand that our black males get in the ATV park so they can perform their little hearts out. And we take the money and put it back into our community.
Yes,
whenever
ma'am.
somebody stands up for our community, what happens? They kill them. If we all stand up, what's going to happen?
They have to agree. That's exactly what has to happen. I'm going to ask you if you can. I wrote something about exactly what you're talking about in 2015, Philadelphia Tribune, April the 26th, 2015. It's on page 11, and it talks about how America views race is usually through our news media. So that whole concept, I'd love you to take a minute and just write that down. April 26th, 2015, page 11. It's a Sunday's paper. It's written by me, Robert Woodard. So please check that out. I think you're right on the right point, and I would love to see you, the whole community, put that money where it needs to be and create a new sport. We got basketball, football, baseball. Let's create a new sport that everybody will want to see, whether you're black or white. Thanks again now, ladies. Keep up the good work.
Thank you, Woody.
Yes, ma'am.
Appreciate your call. We're going to break. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. We'll be right back.
Does your pre-K to 12 student need reliable internet for digital learning? The city's PHL Connected program can help by offering free internet to eligible families. To find out if you qualify, dial 211. For language services, press 8. Learn more at phila.gov/PHL Connected.
Hi, WURD family. My name is Kim Hall Jackson, and I am a colorectal cancer survivor.
If I can convince one person to get a screening, then I know my voice is making a difference. Go to WURDradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner and get your Fit Kid test today.
WURD Radio has partnered with the Colorectal Cancer Alliance, Independence Blue Cross Foundation, Penn Medicine, and LabCorp to provide a free at-home screening test for colon cancer. All WURD listeners can register for a free at-home screening test as a part of the Go to Know campaign. This campaign is designed to provide African Americans with free testing for early colon cancer screening. Colon cancer can be prevented, and early detection saves lives. Go to wordradio.com and click on the Go to Know banner to request your free test today.
The Black Words Book Club. Word Radio's conversation on books that explore the African American experience through social, economic, and environmental justice issues. Tune in the second Tuesday of every month on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro, 4 p.m. till 7 p.m. The next book for June is Taught by Women, Poems as Resistance Language by Hakeem Adabuti. Be sure to listen live, as Nick Taliaferro will hold a contest for a giveaway book bundle that consists of 4 titles from Kensington's Defina's Authors of Color's newest release. Don't miss it, Tuesday, June 8th on Evening Words with Nick Taliaferro. Attention for Word members. Get your copy and receive a 20% discount when you purchase at Harriet's Bookstore or Hakeem's Bookstore. For more information on the Black Words Book Club, visit wordradio.com. The Black Words Book Club is sponsored by Defina. Defina is an imprint of Kensington Publishing Corporation, America's independent publisher, concentrating on authors of color.
You're listening to The Source with Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio. Streaming live on wordradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
Talking about his life that was still unfolding when he had to fly. Toward war end, inshallah, he knelt to pray when a dusty troop misjudged and blew him away. Strangers saying
You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on wordradio.com. So there was a commentary that was sent to me by Sister Paula that was in the Pennsylvania Capital Star, and it was written by our Michael Cord, who has a show on WURD and writes also for the Philadelphia Tribune, and who's a very, you can't question Michael Cord's credentials. And he raises the question, is Philly's Democratic leadership a friend or a foe? And he goes on to talk about Philadelphia Democratic City Committee is supposed to be a friend of the black people. After all, black people keep Democrats in power in Philly. But what do we get in return? We get a slap in the face. We get disrespected, and we get told to get back on the plantation until the next election. Friends aren't supposed to be treated like that, which is exactly why the Reverend Martin Luther King wisely pointed out, in the end, we will remember not the words of our enemies, but the silence of our friends. What do you think, Rita?
I definitely think that that pertains to this situation, because not enough of our black friends, elected officials, people in positions of power are standing up on the principle of the fact that they want to pass this legislation to outlaw ATVs and dirt bikes, when they know for sure it is a cultural thing that many black and brown men enjoy. And it's the camaraderie and all of the things that bring young black men together. And that's what they're afraid of. And they
but I want to take it back to his intention in this article is to talk about the past election and the electoral process. Melissa, are you still with us?
Of course I'm here, Ms. Joanne. And Michael Cord always hits it out of the park. Spot on. You know, he, along with myself, along with so many other people, have been saying for the longest time, and when we shout out, they try to silence our voices. Our local Democratic City Committee is headed by a white man. I called him what did I call him? I called him a political plantation slave master, Bob Brady, who had one of the most gerrymandered congressional districts probably in the nation. Definitely in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. How is it that this white man made sure that his district was so, if you look at it like an aerial view, you would say, what on God's green earth is going on here? If you look at any other congressional district with your naked eye, you will see the intention of him ensuring that he had all primary black people in his congressional district. So what do? Well, when I was working out in Bucks County, one of the white politicians said this, and that person shall remain nameless. That person said, well, all you have to do is give them hamburgers and hot dogs and a pretzel and a drink. They'll vote for you every time and keep coming back. Meaning you don't have to actually do work. Meaning you don't have to secure money to come into the congressional district. Just show up, take pictures, give hamburgers, hot dogs, and a cold drink, and a pretzel, and smile, and there you got it. And pretty much that's what Bob Brady's done, except for he has his point people, I guess, like on the plantation when our ancestors were enslaved, they would use us against us, house Negro, field Negro, keep them in check, right? So that's what Bob does. He has ward leaders and point people around the city to keep the Negroes in check. I give you some money, you make sure you deliver those votes. So much so that the last judicial cycle that Bob Brady and his cronies, or flunkies as I like to call them, delivered an all-white judicial panel of judges to be sworn in. In a city where 60% of the defendants who go before the court are black, not to mention probation and parole fees, court fees, attorney fees. Who are the attorneys? The vast majority of the attorneys are white men. So you see the picture I'm painting here? White men continuing to make money off of black bodies. And then people say, oh, Philadelphia is the largest poverty-stricken city. Well, how so? Well, when you have people like Bob Brady at the helm who keep us in poverty, and then he has his flunkies who help him keep us in poverty, and then they say, why is the gun violence so prevalent? Well, when you have underfunded schools and you don't have congressional people who fight tooth and nail to coordinate with the state reps, to coordinate with the city elected officials to ensure that our schools look like schools and not prisons, to ensure that our schools are well funded, to to ensure that our children get trips around the nation to learn about their nation, learn about the civics, to ensure that our kids have extracurricular activities so they can, imagine and dream, to ensure that we have school to university or school to technical schools pipelines instead of school to prison pipelines or, school to entrepreneurship pipelines. Bottom line is this. It is your leaders that are keeping you in poverty. And look at this right now. Granted, we lost one congressional district. We used to be 18 congressional districts in the Commonwealth. We now have 17. We only have one black congressperson, and that is Dwight Evans. One. We've never had a black congresswoman in the Commonwealth. I'm going to run for Congress one day. What would they say about me? She's loud. She's aggressive. She attacks. She has attitude. She's angry. For age. A black woman runs for. Not only will you have white people attacking you just for being black, but you'll also have black people attacking because that's just what black people do, attack each other. Stop the madness because it's not getting us anywhere. We need people down in Washington that are standing up to the Matt Gaetz, standing up to, the Mitch McConnell, calling out the Nancy Pelosi, calling out the Chuck Schumers. Because believe me, in Williamsport, was it Williamsport or Williamstown, Brooklyn, when you had the guy slashing people, guess what? In that Jewish community, a couple weeks after, Chuck Schumer secured millions to go into security and cameras. What have our Congress people done for us?
I think you raised a lot of points that we need to address, and I want to take a call from Elias from North Philly. He's been calling back and forth. Elias? Hello? Hello?
Hey, good afternoon, ladies.
Oh, you're on. We will get ready to.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
All right, my lovely women. How you guys are doing? Great?
We're doing great.
Good.
Today.
How are you, Elias?
That's good. I never got no answer from your emails, and I'll talk to you about that. But a question for the young lady that's talking about the ATV vehicles that are all over the streets of Philadelphia. My question to her, does she live in an area where the intensity of ATVs are happening where she lives?
Melissa?
Elias, with all due respect, where I live at has nothing to do with my day-to-day experiences.
Okay.
I spend, and this is the God's honest truth.
Sorry I came out, but
most of my days when I'm not working, I spend my day driving all over the city. And when I mean all over the city, I mean Bridesburg, you name it. I go all over the city. Why? Because I want to see what's going on all over the city.
Okay. Well, I'm the same
and
way.
yes,
I'm 54
dirt
years
bikes
old,
do ride
and
down
I've
my
raised
block.
four
Why? Because I live in Fox State.
Melissa, we can't hear him. Go ahead, let him finish, and then you can finish. Go ahead,
okay.
Elias.
So at night, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, they're riding all over our community. Is that right? I understand during normal business hours and everything, but we do have people in our communities that work. We always have to call the cops. And guess what? Because there's so much crime being committed, they're out of control, and the police, the authorities are controlled by not going after these people. But this is bad behavior, what they're doing. Agree? In the wee hours of the morning?
Yeah, I would agree. I think we're saying I think we're saying different things. Let me say what I believe, and then Melissa, and then you know that I'm sure Rita wants to have something to say. I think we saw bad behavior with the skateboarding as well.
Right.
And maybe not in the middle of the night, I don't know, but we saw a similar bad behavior.
Pretty loud.
And so what happened was that all of the elements of government got together and said, we recognize this as a sport, and we wanted them to be able to grow in that, and we want to provide a place where they can go. And so they built a place for them to go. And Melissa can speak for herself, but and I will let her do that. But I believe what she's saying, and what I believe is that they can do the same for this particular sport. We have to take a quick break, and we'll be right back. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council, my throat, on 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. We'll be right back.
AARP is working to protect Americans 50 plus by making sure you have the latest information about the COVID-19 vaccines and the distribution plans in Pennsylvania. Just visit aarp.org/PA vaccine to learn who's eligible for the COVID-19 vaccine, when, where, and how to get it in Philadelphia and the rest of the Commonwealth, and what you might want to discuss with your doctor. That's aarp.org/PA vaccine.
Olaniyan Adefume's goal is to assist families and students that are tired of the destructive input by the coronavirus. If you are interested in a math tutor, Olaniyan is offering small, reasonably priced classes that will focus on the PSSA test. Classes start June 21st. The students will have lessons, tests, homework, and a textbook to keep with PSSA exercises and explanations. Knowledge is power. Call Olaniyan Adefume, 215-678-3830 for pricing information and location.
Small business owners are navigating an evolving small business landscape brought on by coronavirus. However, their resilience is reflected in Bank of America's 2020 Small Business Owner Report, a nationwide survey on 1,000 small business owners, which found that nearly 1/4 of small business owners took steps in 2020 to retool their offerings and/or leverage their resources to support relief efforts in their communities. While many saw an impact in their bottom line last year, small business owners anticipate a strong post-pandemic environment, and 79% believe small businesses will return to be the backbone of the U.S. economy. Inspired by the small business owners facing unprecedented challenges, Bank of America continues their commitment to help small business owners in Philadelphia with the necessary resources to sustain and grow. For more information, visit bankofamerica.com.
This is WURD Radio,
96.1 FM
and 900 AM WURD Philadelphia.
Black Talk Media.
You're listening to The Source with Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
So we're coming right back, and I want to go back to Melissa too, because I had to cut you off so we could hear him. Melissa?
I'm here. I just want to say, is it Elijah or Elias?
Elias.
So, Elias, I want you to know that I'm sorry that you are unable to get good rest and sleep at night because of the noise. No one, and I really do mean no one, should be subject to any kind of noise that, breaks their sleep or prohibits them from getting proper rest. But I have a question for you. What do you think the most viable solution is? Because if they're riding at all hours of the night, that means that they want to ride, right? You can call it bad behavior or whatever you want to call it, but the fact remains they want to ride. So wouldn't it make more sense to do due diligence and provide the proper space and facility so that they can do that and not keep you and your neighbors up at night?
Absolutely. I agree with you 110% of that. You're absolutely right. I had, like I said, I'm 54 years old, and I had and raised in a predominantly, Black and Latino neighborhood because I'm mixed. So I had this involved parents that conduct good behavior in these homes. And my example is a couple of my friends had parents that would take them to parks to ride. But we have teenagers late at night out in the wee hours of the morning. So that behavior, if you hit a domino, it goes back to the adults in those homes. So my thing is that we need to try to market for these young men via maybe a commercial, especially in our other, I don't know if that's your mother station, the one that plays all, the hip-hop station that plays all the deplorable music in the ears of our children, our teenagers. Because that's right now they're not listening to our radio station. You know, that's a big problem right there. So I think we need to educate and really put it out there via commercials. Even Speed Dial, Meek Mills, who created this, and remember DMX, God rest his soul. His rap videos showed all that, you know, riding around ATVs around the streets, popping wheelie, no care for nothing. But if we speed dial Meek Mills, he's from Philadelphia. He should be in the forefront creating a commercial on the radio or even in television and saying, my brothers and sisters, or something, and say, have consideration for your community, drive safely in your ATVs, and please, there's a time and place for it. You know, put that out there. But these kids out here, they don't have no care for the world. And another thing I want to say.
No, what we're going to do. Wait a minute.
Can I say one more thing, please? I just want to say one more thing.
You have to say it very quickly because we're running behind.
Real quick. And we need to announce this because this white government, they're laughing at us. We know that. There's so many things they're doing to us as Black Latinos. We need to tell these kids to stop buying the helmets that look like German helmets. That represents Germans, who are the most racist people in this planet. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you.
Okay.
So so Melissa, do you have time for one more call? We have Prince holding on.
Of course. I'm going to stay on with you guys until I have to go. So I haven't received a call yet. So of course, Miss Joanne.
Okay. Prince from Schuylkill.
Hey, good afternoon. How are you?
Good afternoon, Prince.
Good afternoon, Prince.
I think that to some extent, one of the reasons you have that makes this different from a skateboard park is that the engine on these bikes or the engines on any machine, the city bears the liability for that if we authorize the safe space for them to ride it. And so one of the things that we looked at was taking some of the swampland down there near the airport or off Allen Avenue and reconfiguring that, getting Red Bull and Yamaha and some of the other motorcycle guys to invest $20 million in reconfiguring that and having a park that opens from 7 in the morning with a teaching apparatus that allows kids between the age of 7 and 13 to learn how to change the tires, to learn how to change spokes, to learn how to change a spark plug. And that's a 12-week course for them. And then having riding competition, North Philly against South Philly, West Philly against, and so have Lincoln and Cheney come down and have them as vendors inside of this place. And this place during the summer days will close at 3 in the morning, and during the winter days will close at maybe 12 o'clock. And then it will be totally illegal to ride those 4x4s on the street because we have a park that you can have access to. And so these were some suggestions. The only problem with the suggestions is that the leadership that's in play right now has not made any movement on this, and they continue to not make movement on this. And so, the fight is between residents who want a quality of life, who should have a quality of life, taxpaying residents who should have a quality of life, and at best, legislation that doesn't have the same reciprocal effect of us having this quality of life. A lot of people cater to the social aspect and think that you can keep the handouts going on, but you need to provide the quality of life for the taxpayers who coexist inside of an urban situation. And some of these urban places are funded, are government funded, and the people who are benefiting from that do not want them to change. And so I don't want the young lady to get upset to try to prove a point and to say we need to find a solution, because you need to know the parameters, you need to know the city charter, you need to know the city codes. So it's not as easy as you saying put it on the taxpayer, because if somebody rides that bike and get paralyzed on something that we sanction, then automatically the burden falls on the taxpayer. And I'm going to hang up and listen to you guys.
So, Melissa, you want to answer that?
Sure. Okay. First things first. When anybody signs up to do anything that could endanger you, there's this thing called a liability waiver, right? So what I don't like is I don't like excuses, okay? People have moved from the suburbs into Philadelphia. They moved into an urban area, and they do whatever is necessary to accommodate themselves, joining urban planning commissions, creating RCOs, anything that they can do so they can have a voice, whether it's on the zoning board or whatever. They want to make sure that they have a voice so that they can accommodate themselves. Case in point, a couple of years ago, Chestnut Street didn't look like it did. Walnut Street didn't look like it did the Parkway, because we now have these things called bike lanes. And who do the bike lanes accommodate? Well, primarily white people. I rode bikes for 3 years, right? 3 years, right? Because I like to ride a bike. But when white people want something, what do? They use their man-made privilege. They use their money that they have, because they make sure we don't get money through oppression and barriers of education and employment and self-employment. So they use all their money that they amass to move things and make things happen to satisfy themselves. So there's no way on God's green earth that anybody can tell me that we can't create an ATV park. We put a man on the moon. We can do anything that we want to do. You can replicate a sheep. You can create an ATV park. Give me a break. Look around the city. You'll see more doggy daycares and doggy hotels than you'll see children's daycares. Are you kidding me? And he said, you know, I hope that he and I are arguing the same point, but I heard him say a thought about placing an ATV park out in Southwest Philadelphia, where we know the ground is so contaminated, and a lot of the residents live out there, have all kinds of respiratory issues. I have a better idea. How about in the greater Northeast, where there's nothing but vast land? The Union League downtown, is that what it's called? They have a golf course so big out in the Northeast that's privately owned. It is disgusting. It has a long black gate. You drive down Academy Road, all of that property, all of it belongs to the Union League. It is one of the most scenic and most beautiful golf courses if you stop and try to peek over the gate. But you're kept out. It's all white. Maybe one or two black people, you know, for a little spice, but it's all white men. The point of it is this. We as black people have grown accustomed to going without and not having, and a small percentage of blacks having. And then, unfortunately, some of those look down their noses on other blacks. We've got to stop this saying we can, and we can do anything that we want to do. You just have to know it. That is why Harriet Tubman said, I could have freed more if they knew they were free.
If they only knew that they were slaves.
They knew they were slaves.
So,
Exactly, because we are free. God gives us freedom. We come into this world as free people. Just protect your mental. Be free thinkers. Bottom line is this. We have leaders that allow the likes of Bob Brady and all other, I mean, Ms. Joanne, you and I have had conversations. We see that we look to these people for control. Take your power back. If you stop bowing down to money and look at the resources and the talent that you have in your own community and trust one another. Stop tearing each other down. Time and time again, we see, unfortunately, black men and women and brown women tearing each other down. Why? Who benefits from that? Come together. See the value in each other. Build each other up. Invest into each other. We can have whatever we want if only we see our own power. That's why I came on this show today, to talk about the fact that you're about to have legislation passed that's going to bring you a step closer to criminalizing black men. And guess what? If white men can classify marijuana as a drug and pass federal law saying the smoking or distribution of marijuana is illegal, and then one day they decide, well, we've killed enough white people with the opioid crisis through the pharmaceutical companies, and then they decide one day, Big Pharma's like, okay, we've killed enough of our own white people. Let's move to see what the Negroes are doing. Oh, well, they love to smoke marijuana, right? So now Big Pharma has invested millions of dollars into the distribution, the production of marijuana. So the same white men who created legislation to outlaw marijuana are the same white men who are now trying to tell you that you should vote to legalize marijuana, are the same white men who are going to make billions off of you smoking marijuana. Why do we accept white supremacy? See it for what it is. And stop trying to demonize black people who speak up and speak out and who are free thinkers and who are not afraid to stand up. Free yourself. Just take your chains off.
Melissa, so I'd like for you to tell them your full name and the name of your organization, because they're asking.
So my name is Melissa Robbins. I ran for city council in 2019, but a progressive white organization fought to get me off the ballot. They came and apologized to me and said, I'm really sorry. And the organization that I co-founded is called NEAR, Northeast Philly Against Racism. And we teach, we promote, we advocate anti-racism, because nothing is going to change in this country, on this soil, unless we stand up against white supremacy. And black people will always be at the bottom of the totem pole if you don't look down and realize that your chains have been unlocked for a long time. Just take them off and free your mind. Stop trying to hurt each other, right? And stand up, lock arms, and take one giant step forward together as one, because without each other, we are going to continue to perish. We need each other. We need each other. Like we need the air that we breathe. We need each other.
Well put. Well put. So I wanted to return to the article and go to the next paragraph. And so Michael Cord's article. And the third paragraph, he says, and it was our so-called friends in the Democratic City Committee through its executive board who on March 25th refused to endorse Larry Krasner, the incumbent Democratic and impressively progressive district attorney who has always fought for black folks in the criminal justice system. By being silent and refusing to endorse him, the Democratic City Committee indirectly and intentionally endorsed a Republican in Democratic clothing. The same candidate who was financed by the Republican FOP, which is the same organization that twice endorsed the racist fake President Donald Trump, who was twice endorsed by the KKK. The FOP is the same organization that partied with the racist, thuggish Proud Boys. Not only that, but those same so-called friends in the Democratic City Committee were at odds with local black organizations and local black elected officials who enthusiastically endorsed Krasner, the man that I call the blackest white guy I know. Those black organizations and officials who endorsed him include the Guardian Civic League, Black Police Officers Association, the Valiants, the Black Firefighters Association, the Black Clergy of Philadelphia and vicinity, Philadelphia Tribune editorial board council members Kendra Brooks, State Representative Morgan Cephas, State Representative Isabel Fitzgerald, Council Member Jamie Gauthier, Council Member Catherine Gilmore Richardson, State Senator Art Haywood, State Senator Vincent Hughes, Council Member Kenyatta Johnson, Council Member Curtis Jones, State Rep Malcolm Kenyatta, State Rep Rick Krajewski, State Rep Joanna McClinton, Council Member Sherelle Parker, Council Member Maria Quinona Sanchez, and State Representative Chris Rabb, State Senator Sharif Street, Council Member Isaiah Thomas, and State Senator Anthony Williams. As reported by the Tribune, and Jay McCalla, former city deputy managing director, said the Democratic Committee's non-endorsement of the incumbent was the height of injustice, and that put Krasner at a real outreach disadvantage when it came to the black vote. McCalla, as usual, was right. Fortunately, though, black folks know a white ally when they see one, and they saw Krasner. So, Rita and Melissa, what are your thoughts?
Well, he said it like it is. That's exactly what happened. The black community saw Krasner for the things that he did in his administration during his 4 years as things that would empower the black community. He never ran from any question or any statement or criticism. He addressed it. He came on the show weekly. Okay? He was accountable. He ran on things like no cash bail. He addressed that during his administration. So he did the things that he said he would do, that he campaigned on. And the black community saw that and realized that getting behind a candidate who was endorsed and who was funded by the FOP was not going to get our community further in our fight for reform. And so Krasner stood for criminal justice reform, and he did many things during his administration to demonstrate that. And so no matter how much money that they put behind the candidate, the lies that were put in the media, the things that were told, the black community saw that he was the candidate to get behind, and they put their votes behind him, and they reelected him. Thankfully, they reelected him. So I agree with Michael Cord in his assessment of what happened and what really went down. But we do need to look at the Democratic City Committee and what were they really trying to do? What were they trying to do?
Well, Melissa, are you there?
Yes, of course I'm here. To answer Rita's question, we know exactly what Bob Brady and we knew exactly what they were doing, right? You know, but let's face it, a lot of money was poured into that district attorney race, and people want money. You have people who don't care about the fact that our children are suffering in poverty. You people that really don't care that, you know, gun violence is prevalent. They just don't. I'm telling you the truth. They care about, wow. So Carlos Vega has this amount of money. I mean, if you were just buzzing around the city, you would see certain people sitting down having conversations or lunch with Carlos Vega. Now, this is what I want y'all to do, right? After all the campaign finance reports come out, take a look at Carlos Vega's campaign finance report. Take a look at the campaign finance report of the Protect Our Police PAC. Look, all you have, we say this time and time again, follow the money. Look at who took money. Ask yourself, what city council people did not endorse Larry Krasner, right? The answers are right in front of you, people. Who did not endorse Larry Krasner, right? Then ask yourself, who are the people who publicly stood with Carlos Vega, right? And then you ask yourself, well, why would they? Did they accept money, or are they trying to save themselves for their own political skin? What are their political ambitions? Who are these people? They're telling you who they are. Some people are saying, I can be sold to the highest bidder. Some people are saying, I support white supremacy. Some people are saying, well, guess what? This is, you know, the people who make up my district are white supremacists, so got to go with Vega. People will tell you what they care about by how they spend their time and how they spend the money. It doesn't matter what comes out of their mouth. If you look at how the money is allocated and how they spend their time, there is your answer in front of you. So we know exactly what was happening when our local Democratic City Committee did not endorse an incumbent that won by a landslide. That is embarrassing, right? Here is Larry Krasner, a Jewish progressive district attorney who ran on reform, who has exonerated 20 people in his 3 years and change, who has established what we call a real juvenile court, who has diverted many of our children out of the criminal justice system. He's really disrupted this school to prison pipeline, right? This man is a man of his word, but reform doesn't happen overnight. Look at how many administrations in the district attorney we had in the past. The Rendells, look at Lynn Abraham, you know, Kelly Hodges was there for a period of time. We look at Seth Williams. We look at all of the disruption that took place year after year after year after year. And then you have a guy like Larry Krasner who comes along who says, no, We should not be throwing our children away. No, we have men who are locked behind bars and women who are innocent. Larry Krauser said no. And even after a man or a woman does their time, they deserve redemption. So when you see a white man walking down the street with black men who have been released from their chains, what does that say? What did they call them back in the day?
Before I want you to hold, Melissa, I want you to hold. I've got to go to a break. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is John.
Hi, this is Juanita, owners of JD's Auto Body and Painting. We're located at 6300 Wayne Avenue, right there at the intersection of Wayne and Washington Lane.
We really like to thank all you WURD listeners for the support that you've given our business, and we really hope to see you in the future.
JD, tell them about our products and services we have.
We have a new state-of-the-art paint shop along with our body shop and detail shop. We can help you with the dents and scratches from the winter season.
Come to JD's Auto Body and Painting. Come on out and check us out. We're still honoring that WURD 10% discount. Give us a call, 215-848-5949. Again, 215-848-5949.
Thanks again for supporting our business. We really appreciate you.
See you at JD's Auto Body and Painting.
Stage Door, focusing on arts and culture in and around Philadelphia. Hosted by Tiffany Bacon and co-moderated by Jeffrey Page of the Philadelphia Theater Company. Part of The Source, Fridays at noon, exclusively on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM and 900 AM WURD. Streaming live on WURDradio.com, the WURD Radio app, or watch live on WURD TV via Facebook and YouTube. Sponsored by New Voices sponsor Comcast, NBC Universal, and Pico. Are you looking for a job? WURD has got you covered. We just launched a brand new job portal featuring jobs from some of Philadelphia's leading companies and art organizations. Visit the portal right now to see jobs from WURD Radio, the Kimmel Center, Her Foods, Always Best Care, and more. Apply today. Visit our livelihood website at wordworks.com. That's WURDworks.com and click jobs.
You're listening to The Source with Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio. Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com, and we're back. And Melissa, you was on a roll, okay? I didn't know, I didn't know which one I was going to be afraid of, whether I was going to be afraid of Jordan cutting us off because he was giving me the signal, or whether you were going to do something because you were going right on through. So, these kinds of conversations gets us all worked up. And what we have to do is that I think the key word here is that we're tired. We're tired of doing the same thing and wishing for a different result. And unfortunately, the power doesn't rest solely in the hands of the people who are elected. The power rests with us. And what we have learned doing this show, Rita, Emma, myself, is that information is power. And what our audiences have been starved for is the information. And armed with the information, I trust that they will do the right things. And sometimes some of the stuff that we say on this program, it's uncomfortable. It is uncomfortable for us to say it. It is uncomfortable for those that we talk about, and it's uncomfortable to receive it. But we live in a city where babies are being killed. We live in a city where we've lost almost a generation of children. We live in a city where once people get elected, they have to worry about being reelected or what is the next position that they want to go to. And in the meantime, we keep kidding ourselves every year that it's going to change, and it's going to change without us making the change. Sometimes we have to stand up together and not just speak truth to power, but take an action with it. We have elections that come up every year. We've allowed a Democratic Party to take advantage of us. If we look at who's getting elected, let's take the judges. And I want to have a shout out to Judge Kateria McCabe, who is the only black woman that got through this time. And she has just indicated to us that one of the first acts is to get a person hired, and I lost the name, but I'll come back to it, that we have to put people in place that look out for our best interest. We can't let people get paid to give us people who don't have our best interest at heart. And the only reason why they're in the position, the only reason why they became a judge is because they had enough money to buy the party. We're tired. Rita.
Yes, we're sick and tired, and we come on the show week in and week out, and we call ourselves advocates for our community, and that we are. Week in and week out, we give information to the community. We shine a light on disparity. We stand our voices up strong, and we say this is wrong. I agree with Melissa and what she came on the show to talk about today with the ATVs and the dirt bikes. I agree. You're just going to pass legislation that's going to be discriminatory towards a group of people who culturally ride the ATVs and dirt bikes as part of their cultural expression. But you're going to outlaw it, and the police are not supposed to chase them, but they do. It's supposed to be outlawed because it's dangerous, but they do chase them, and they confiscate the bikes. But instead of putting a pause in it, studying it, doing some diligence, finding out, is it possible for us to put an ATV park somewhere? You just want to outlaw it altogether. The disparity in what happens with one group versus what happens to black and brown people is stark. It's clear. It's not murky. It's not a gray area. It's plain to see. In every area of our lives, we can point to the disparate treatment of our people, and it has to stop. And if we don't lift our voices and we don't put the information out there, then it won't stop. People with courage and conviction like Melissa, like you, Joanne, myself, Miss Emma, people who listen to WURD, we must stand up in every aspect of our lives because it's the only thing that's going to move us forward out of white racist control into us controlling ourselves in our own communities. So I applaud Melissa today, and I applaud what we do every week in bringing information to our community and saying this has to stop.
So we worked on something called the Cures Report that was out from the First Judicial, and we sent a letter, and we haven't gotten any responses from it. But what Judge Kateria McCabe has indicated today, the First Judicial District hired Shaka White as its Chief Diversity, Equity, Inclusion Officer. Her post is effective 5/24. We're going to get some more information and find out where that goes. Melissa?
Yeah, I was going to say to you, you hit the nail on the head. Information is important. Making sure that people are in the know. People can make informed decisions for themselves and their families and their communities when they know, when they're privy to information. But when you have elected leaders who do not bring information back to their community because they make excuses and say, oh, well, they're not interested and they don't care, that's highly problematic. You know, my congressperson, before the congressional districts were changed, you know, my congressperson, who's Brendan Boyle, the vast majority of the residents and constituents were white and Jewish, right? And he catered to the community. Now that our, you know, congressional district has changed, his behavior has changed slightly. But the point that I'm making is information, right? I was not a person that was privy to information ever from my congressperson. Now our congressional district is more brown, so in order for that man to stay in his seat, he has to do things to satisfy. He's not going to get out there in front of the George Floyd Policing and Justice Act. No, not at all. He'll say, let's tax the rich more. People want to stay in office. We have to have bold people like Councilmember Kendra Brooks, who said, I don't care if I get reelected or not. I am going to do the work that the people put me in office for. A person like her, I will stand beside her every day of the week because she's not there for pension, pay, perks, or a paycheck. Kendra is there because the work that she's doing at City Hall is the work that she was doing before she won the election. We need people who are willing to sacrifice. That's a big word, sacrifice. People don't want to sacrifice. Miss Joanne and Rita, they want to benefit from others who sacrifice, but they themselves, nah, they're not willing to sacrifice. And it sickens me to my stomach. Why? Because you and I and the rest of these people, the opportunity and the liberties that we have every day, is because people gave the ultimate sacrifice, and that's their lives. I get it. You know, some people care more than the norm. I'm a person, this is the way I was born into the world. You know, I could have been a person who didn't care, who's somewhere getting my nails and toes painted every week, rather, or preoccupied with my hair, or whatever it is. I care about people, okay? I care about the wellness and the goodness of people. I care about people having the opportunity to access unlimited amounts of information and the ability to thrive, which is what we deserve. And I don't mind standing up. I don't mind speaking out. I don't mind fighting. This is how I was designed. The only thing that I'm doing is what most people have done in their lives, and that is answering and breathing life into the assignment that has been placed on you by the Almighty. Because at the end of the day, when we are all on our back, sitting up or whatever, when we're about to take our last breath, every last one of us is going to say, my God. Every last one of us are going to call out to him before you die. And you can only hope and pray that you've lived your life in the most just and the most righteous way. Because nobody's going to give a damn about your hair. Nobody's going to give a damn about how big your house was or any of that. Nobody's going to care. Before you die and your life flashes in front of you, you're going to call out to the Almighty. And let's just hope that this small amount of time that you were here on earth, that you cared about mankind, that you cared about humanity, that you cared about doing the right thing all the time. No one's perfect, but we all have free will and we all have free choice. stop constantly thinking about me, my, and I. This whole notion of living in an individualistic society, it's destructive. Look around. I said it before and I'll say it again. We need each other. And what you read, that passage from Attorney Michael Kors, it was spot on. That man calls it like it is. You can't deny him or the things that he says. And thank you both. Thank you both for providing the platform for people to come and speak truth to power, to share information, and to urge people to take action. A number that I want to share with your listening audience is for people to call. I don't care if Pat Toomey is a Republican. He still eats from your pocket. He's a public servant, and he is one of your senators that represent the great state of Pennsylvania. His number is 610-434-1444. Why do I give you that number? Because the Senate has to vote on an independent commission to investigate the insurrection that took place by white supremacists, right? They terrorized our United States Capitol. We need an independent commission, and in order for the Senate to vote on it, you need to call your senator, Pat Toomey, 610-434-1444. That is an action. You are sitting down, you're wherever, you have your phone inches from your hand. Pick up the phone and call his office. When that office is flooded with phone calls, they're like, oh, wow, they do care. You know, Toomey is not the worst person in the world. He's not a righteous man, but he's not the worst person in the world. He has a job to do. Call him and say, yes, we want an independent commission to investigate what took place with the riots, the racist riots with the Confederates on January 6th with our nation's capital. We have to use our power and continue to do what you do, Mr. Land, and what you do, Rita, and that is share information and give each other options and access. And think of each other as brothers and sisters, as our foremothers and forefathers did. Love on one another. Hold your tongue. Stop judging people. Hold your tongue. You never know why he's doing this or she's doing this. If you're a political leader, you will be called out because you are paid by hardworking people each and every day. But as far as your neighbor, be a little lenient. You know, love our brothers and sisters. Let's pick each other up. We need each other. You know, I thank you for the work that you all do. Thank you for having me on the show today.
We definitely appreciate it. We're going to go to break. You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio, 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on WURDradio.com. We'll be right back.
Jefferson Health offers no-cost COVID-19 testing sites at St. Raymond of Pinafort Church. Testing is on Thursdays and Saturdays. A second testing location has been added at Richard Allen Preparatory Charter School. Testing is on Wednesdays and Fridays. For testing hours and more information, visit jeffersonhealth.org/community testing.
If you haven't had the privilege to use ACAS products, treat yourself. We made it easy for you to shop for good quality essential products with the help of local businesses such as cultural stores, convenience stores, gas stations, and local supermarkets. African Cultural Art Forum, servicing the community since 1969. Find us at acas.us and at 221 South 52nd Street in Philadelphia.
Family Therapy Vignette Moments with Dr. Lucille Ijoy.
Just for fun, during this pandemic time, let's list some of the names you may call your moms. What names do you call your moms? Your wonderful moms. Some people say mom, mum, mommy-o, mama, mama, mother, ma, sweet pea, Mimi, Pouchy, Mumsy, and Dr. Mom. Try this little game. What do you call your mom? I'm going to repeat it now. Listen, just for fun. During this pandemic, list some things you would call your mom. What names do you call her? Mum, mommy-o, mama, mama, mother, ma, sweet pea, Mimi, Pouchy, Mumsy, and Dr. Mom. Try this little game. What do you call your mom?
You're listening to The Source with Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio.
Streaming live on WURDradio.com and the WURD Radio app.
You're listening to Black Women's Leadership Council on WURD Radio 96.1 FM, 900 AM, streaming live on onWURDradio.com. And, you know, every time we're on together and we get a fiery guest like Melissa, it go by real fast. And
yes.
It really does. We're coming to the last 5 minutes or 10 minutes of the show. And we wish everyone a really safe Memorial Day. And get what you and if you're and we want to keep reminding you to get your vaccine. And for those who have already gotten their vaccine, enjoy your family. Family is what it's about. We've been separated for a really long time, and we want to enjoy each other. But we want to take caution too. You know, holidays are the times where the roads are clogged up and accidents happen. We want to, you know, we want traveling mercies. We want you to be aware, and and keep an eye on your young ones. You know what they're doing. Check those bedrooms. Check those secret places. You know, be a nosy mom. If they got something in there they don't need to have, you take it. Turn it in. Let's make an effort to protect our young people. A lot of us don't think that little Johnny's doing what little Johnny is actually doing. And you suspect it. Go with your hunch. Check the drums. Melissa?
Ma'am, I'm here. I just want to say, you know, absolutely, of course, you know, sometimes we don't want to get in our kids' business, this, that, and the other. You're their mom, you're their dad, you're their guardian. Tell them, I do things to annoy you all the time. I know it, but I love you, and that's why I'm going to do everything to protect you. I just had to tell my 19-year-old. I said, I don't care what you say. I am your #1 cheerleader. I'm your biggest fan. I said, when you need me, I'm here for you, but I'm also going to check you when you're wrong and try to point you in the right direction. I know you're an adult, but I'm your mom, and I love you more than any person in this world. And guess what? I get a lot of people grew up not having their parents tell them that they love them, but you better fix your tongue and tell your babies that you love them before this horrible, terrible world sometimes will take them away from you. And I just want to say, I know that I come with a lot of energy. You know, I come with a fiery wind. That's just who I am, right? People have got to accept yourselves who you are. This is just who I am. I've always been like this, you know, very passionate about the things that I do. And I just want to say that one of the people who used to calm me straight down, Miss Emma. Miss Emma would be like, listen, honey. And I'd sit there and I'd listen to Miss Emma, and Miss Emma would say, I hear you, Melissa. I hear you. That woman would give me some of the best advice, but she always told me, you know, keep on marching to the beat of your drum, Melissa. Don't let nobody silence you. Miss Emma always told me how much she cared about me and how much she supported me. And that meant so much to me on those days where your back is against the wall and nobody wants to stand with you, right? Because people are afraid, you know, afraid. You can't be afraid. You can't let fear guide you. So I just want to say, you know, I miss her. I miss her a lot, and I think about her a lot, and I think about, you know, some of the stories that she shared with me about some of the barriers that she had, you know, on her journey, but how she always found a way above, around, below, or sometimes just kicking the door straight down. You know, we cannot be stopped by fear. If our ancestors were fearful, where would we be today? When you have that moment of fear, digest it and keep on pushing past. We cannot allow white supremacy to continue to control us. When you see it, call it out right then and there. I don't care who it is, your boss, your friend, your neighbor, put it right in their face. And as far as people hearing us say things that are uncomfortable, well, guess what? It's uncomfortable for me to see Black women walking down the street with 5, 6, 7 bags just to get food to their house. It's uncomfortable when I see a Black woman pulling loads of laundry coming down the street, and a Black man standing on the corner looking bewildered, no job, nowhere to go, a child looking like they have no hope in the middle of a school ground when they should have, you know, toys to play in, like a jungle gym like they do out here in the county. What I'm saying is this. Look into the pain, look into the eyes, and you'll see the pain of people, and that alone should motivate you to do something. Do what you can, where you are, with what you have, but do something. And as far as these elected officials, when they come around you smiling for a picture, nah, put the camera down. I want to know what you're doing about the problems in our community, to making sure that people get housing, to make sure that all of our schools are fully funded. Talk to them about what you care about. Tell them you're not interested in a picture for their social media to promote them. Tell them that you're interested in what they're actually doing. And another thing, 3-week recess, 3 weeks off. Why are they taking 3 weeks off? We pay them too much to take time off. There's too much to be done. They need to be working. If we can work, they can work. Call your Congress people and ask them, why are you taking time off? We need you working. Make these people answer to you. Remember who the boss is.
Rita?
Well, my voice
I know
is at the very end of its capacity, but I just want to send out lots of love to our listeners, wish them a happy Memorial Day. I want to say that there's so much work yet to be done. Thank you, Melissa, for coming on today. Thank you for the callers who called in. You always lift us to a higher place during the show. I loved what Melissa said, that when you come to the end of your time here, and I don't know why I'm getting emotional, but when you come to the end of your time here, you will be, everyone's calling on God, everyone's calling on our Lord, and look at yourself and how you lived your life. Are you living a righteous life? Are you looking out for others? Are you looking out for yourselves? Are you looking out for your community? Are you showing that love in everything that you do? I hope so, listening audience, because Black Women's Leadership Council is devoted to our community. Be safe this holiday weekend. Be safe in all ways, and take care of each other.
You know, it's been a very rough year for all of us with COVID. We lost a great many people in our community. The disparities were glaring disparities in health, education. We have, I was reading about the kids that we don't even know whether they will come back to school, that during this past year, they didn't log on. They didn't do remote learning. We lost a lot of children, education in the city of Philadelphia during this period of time. And we have a corporate community that is talking the talk but not walking the walk. If you're going to benefit by the tax dollars that you get in this city, you got to bring that rhetoric, you got to bring that action to the rhetoric. We need training programs. We need supporting the schools. We need to rebuild the physical structure of our schools. At the state level, we need a fair funding formula. And Leon has said something, the caller Leon that calls, about an elected school board. And I didn't start on this show with the notion that we should have an elected school board. But I have now arrived where Leon is, because I think that we don't always have all of the right voices and the right controls. We need to do better. We also need to have the amount of money that comes into the city to deal with poverty programs to go to people who are in poverty, rather than the poverty pimps that administer the programs yearly and give us nothing in return. We need elected officials to examine all companies that receive city contracts for who they hire from the C-suite all the way down. We want to know, because if you look at that, you're going to see glaring disparities. And here's my final piece. Catherine Gilmore Richardson requested, Councilwoman Catherine Gilmore Richardson requested of this mayor an accounting by department of all of the contracts that have been let in every category and how many people of color has received it. And she had a few different categories. And the answer that she got back is that we can't have that information to you until after the budget, meaning, you know, they gave her a date in July, which was meant that they wouldn't be able to do anything in relationship to the budget. They also said, and we're not going to do every department, we'll select the departments. Now, if I was elected and sitting in city council, every one of those city council people would say, oh yeah, Mayor, unless and until you answer and give us the answer to those questions, we're not passing this budget and you're not getting any money. You'll have nothing to spend. So either you answer us or you face the consequences. That's what we need them to do. So it's time for us to go. Melissa, I enjoyed you today. We'll talk off air.
Yes.
Rita, we will talk off air.
Yes. Thanks, everyone.
We'll be back next week. And be safe. Happy Memorial Day. Be safe.